Um, so let me start. Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Manish. I work as the Associate Vice President with Virtual Building Studio, and I'm glad to have you all with us. A warm welcome to all our guests as well as a speaker, Turkyeh, a BIM engineer and digital model checking specialist with extensive experience in large EMEA projects. What now serves as Customer Success Manager at Solibri, helping teams streamline and simplify their model checking workflows. I represent a company called Virtual Building Studio, where we've been providing top refined architects at half the market cost. We've been doing it since a decade. If anyone has any production requirement, do get in touch with us. Our today's topic is cut the complexity, faster model checks for AEC teams. As model grow in detail and scale, traditional checking methods can become slow, inconsistent, and difficult to manage. Many teams still face preventable RFIs, repeated clashes and problems caused by outdated model version. In this session, we'll explore how a modern cloud-based approach can speed up checks, improve consistency, and give your team the clarity needed to resolve issues earlier. You can feel you can be free to drop your questions in the chat box. There'll be Q&A session by the end of the session. I'll let Watt do the talking right now, and I'm going to go off cam. Thank you so much, guys. Watt, all yours.
Thank you very much, Manish. It's a pleasure being in this call with you. Welcome everyone to today's session. First of all, I would like to actually thank the Virtual Building Studio and their team for hosting this webinar, and also for allowing us, Solibri, to share some of the knowledge that we have in terms of model checking and the BIM world. So again, thank you very much for Virtual Building Studio, and welcome everyone to today's session. Today's session is going to be about BIM model checking, how we can do it in a faster way, in an efficient way. We know that the process can be a bit complex, especially with the higher complexity of construction projects nowadays. So there's a necessity for doing proper model checking for these projects. Today's session, we're going to have, in the beginning, an introduction about our company, Solibri, what is model checking and the different types of model checking. Also, we're going to dive into the new cloud solution from Solibri, Checkpoint. Then we're going to go a bit technical, do a live demo on Solibri Checkpoint and how we can do model checking using the rule engine that we have over there. And of course, we will have some time for further Q&A. But if you have any questions during the session, just feel free to drop them in the chat and we will look at them as we dive into the session. My name is Turkyeh. I work as a BIM consultant and customer success manager for Solibri. I've been working in the industry as a BIM and digital model checking engineer, specializing mainly in MEP systems. I've worked on some of the large-scale projects in the EMEA regions, including stadiums, hospitals, airports, railway stations, and so on. My original background is mechanical engineering, but I also did construction management. And then I decided to take one step into the quality checking and the quality assurance of the BIM models. And this is what I do. I help our clients, our customers, to integrate Solibri products into their existing workflows, allowing them to reduce all the rework that could come from the errors in the design in their construction projects. Now, about Solibri. Solibri was founded back in 1999, and then we were acquired by the Nemetschek Group in 2015. And now we are part of the Nemetschek Group, along with other key players in the industry, including Bluebeam, Graphisoft, and also Vectorworks, and Allplan, and all of the other Nemetschek brands. So we are all sister brands. We are considered to be the industry's most advanced BIM solution for preventing rework. In 2014, sorry, in 2024, only 14.6 billion hours were logged using Solibri Office, our desktop solution, uncovering around 3.2 billion issues. We have more than 160 users around the world with a global presence in more than 100 countries. Every year, more than 50 million BIM model checks are done on Solibri. And the number is increasing every year. And now we've it recently introduced a new solution, Solibri Checkpoint. New users are coming in, and we're making sure to impact the industry. So why did we choose model checking specifically? Well, the answer is the environmental impact. Around 40% of all the physical waste around the world is related to construction. By using our products, we ensure that the industry is being improved by improving the design quality in construction projects, having fewer construction errors, reducing rework, and improve the environmental impact around the world. We have global presence. We have offices in different parts of the world. Our headquarters is in Helsinki, Finland, and we have also offices in the US, UK, Germany, Netherlands, and also France. With the help of our team and our respected customers, we are leading an industry in change. So Solibri is in use around the world, around the clock, and throughout the workflow. But model checking, what do we mean with BIM model checking? What is that specifically? Is it only the process of detecting clashes in the models? Well, not quite exactly. It's basically a verification process that systematically checks if a building information model that we have in a construction project meets some specific or defined specifications. These specifications could be international standards, national codes. It could be also defined in the BIM execution plan. These are the stuff that ensure that our BIM model is reliable and it can be used on site and by other stakeholders in the project. So also, we're identifying errors early before the construction actually begins. And this is what we mean by BIM model checking. But also, what is the different types of BIM model checking? We are already familiar with the clash detection process. So personally, I divide the BIM model checking process into three main checks, I would say, or three main categories. The first one is geometric checking, which includes accessibility for the elements, dimensions, free spaces, and so on, ensuring that the geometry is correct in the BIM model. Not only that, but also we have data checking, ensuring that the classifications, that the codes, the naming conventions, our information that we're providing in the BIM model are reliable and it can be used for asset management later on in the project. And of course, the classic one, the clash detection. I'm pretty sure this is the favorite one because it's really cool to see some elements clashing with each other. But until we start fixing them, then it becomes a bit difficult. So how do we make this process easier? How do we make it efficient and also not very time consuming? Well, I'm going to show you that how we can do that during the demo. But what are some of the current challenges that we're facing in the industry? Currently, we're doing a lot of manual checks. I know that there are some tools that do clash detection and data checks, but what about the clearance checks? Is this something that we should always do manually? Also, we're handling multiple file formats. As I mentioned previously, the construction projects are becoming increasingly large, which means that we're handling multiple file formats from different authoring tools. How do we handle these? Also, the software that are used in the industry requires high performance machines, which creates some kind of licensing restrictions, especially for desktop solutions. So now we have named licenses and so on. How do we share all of these stuff? Limited integrations. We have different platforms in construction projects nowadays. So we need one unified solution that brings everyone together in the project. And of course, the learning curves, where you need to spend hours and hours, even weeks, in learning these new tools in order to master them and ensure that your model is reliable. And that's why with Solibri, recently we've introduced Solibri Checkpoint as a cloud-based model checker. The key differences over here is that we're providing automated checking. So we're saving time and effort. And the three checks that I mentioned previously, we can now have them in one place. We have a clash detection rule, we have a data validation rule, and a free space rule, ensuring that everything is covered in the model. We work with native files, so Revit and IFC. These are the two file formats that are supported on Solibri Checkpoint. It's a cloud-based solution, so there's no need to install anything throughout the whole process. You work directly from your browser, you can access your models and start checking. Also, we offer flexible licensing. So the license can be shared with different users. One user at a time can start using Checkpoint, which means that it's not limited to one user or a specific number of users. We have seamless integrations with other key players in the industry, including ACC, Procore, and other integrations. We will have a list of that, and I will show you how we integrate with all of these platforms. And you will see also when I go to the demo that the user interface for Solibri Checkpoint is quite user-friendly. So we don't need to spend hours and hours in learning the tool. With Solibri Checkpoint, after we bring the model into our platform, we start checking and so on. But actually, how do we connect everyone together? So there's something what we call connected collaboration. We have direct connections with ACC, Procore, Trimble Connect, and also Microsoft platforms, including SharePoint and OneDrive. As for issue management platforms, we have direct connections with New Pharma and BIM Collab. The file formats that are supported on Solibri Checkpoint are IFC as an open standard and also Revit. So if you're an Autodesk user, you would like to check your files in the cloud, we can also support Revit files. You directly import the files into our platform, check it, and then get the results that you need. So with this, I finished this part of the presentation. I'll stop sharing for a second so I can share my other screen. Okay. So now I'm sharing my screen. I hope that everyone can see it. Let me go to Solibri Checkpoint. Okay. So right now, this is Solibri Checkpoint. As you can see, I can access it from my browser. I currently use it from our US environment, so us.checkpoint.solibri.com. After you get your license activated, you can start accessing the tool from here. But you can see I'm using Microsoft Edge to access Solibri Checkpoint. It is compatible with all the browsers out there. You can use Google Chrome, Firefox, and so on. It's pretty much flexible. You don't need to install anything locally. But what we're doing with Solibri Checkpoint is that we're bringing everyone together. On the left-hand side, you can view your team members who work with you on a project, who you can then assign to work on different projects, and so on. All of this can be streamlined through access roles. So if I choose any of these icons, which represent the projects that I currently have on my Checkpoint account, I can actually share it with other users. So I can go to this project, for example, click on Share, and then you can see the list of people who are working with me on this project, and then I can add more people. After that, I can define their access role from here. So I can choose whether I want them to be a project admin, a project member, and so on. But how do we add these projects into Checkpoint? How do we import them into the cloud? Well, there are two ways to do so. Go to the right top corner from here, add a new project. The first workflow, which we call the integrated workflow, we're connecting Solibri Checkpoint with one of the platforms in the industry, including Autodesk CDEs, ACC, BIM 360, as well as Procore, Trimble Connect, OneDrive, and SharePoint. We have direct connections over there. So all what you have to do is just click on the platform that you want to integrate with, put your account, and then choose the project that you would like to add. After that, you will see it as one of the icons that I have in the landing page over here. Another way to do so, let's say at this specific stage of the project, I don't have an access to a CD and I don't want to publish any models just yet. So what I can do, I can create a new project from here, allowing me to upload the models directly from my local drive. So if I'm a BIM modeler and I don't want to connect to ACC at this point, and I don't want everyone in the project to see my project, which I'm still checking, then I can upload the models directly to Checkpoint using this option over here. And then you will see all the projects that you have on a company level, but also on a personal level. So now I'm viewing all the projects in my company in Solibri, but I also can choose my own projects that I work on. Okay, now for this demo, I'm going to choose this ACC project. As an example, this is Snowdon Towers. It's one of the Revit 2024 example projects. So after I open it, it will load the models, as you can see in the 3D viewer. on the left-hand side, this is the main panel which we will work with. So with Solibri Checkpoint, it's pretty much simple to work with the models and the whole process of model checking. All what you have to do is just follow the icons at the top. So first, you start by adding your models, whether you're getting them from ACC or you're uploading them from your local drive. You can just load them into the 3D viewer and then choose which version you would like to work with. So as you can see here, I have only one version, but if I choose always latest, then if my team or any team member push a new update for this specific architectural model on ACC and publish it, I can get it instantly in Solibri Checkpoint once I load this model set. This allows me to get the information in real time, eliminating the manual work that required us to download the file, re-uploading it, and so on. We have a direct connection, so we're retrieving the information in real time. And right now, I'm loading only Revit files, but you can also add IFC. You can combine them both, and then you can federate them and show them in the 3D viewer. And that's for the models. Loading the files into our 3D viewer will make it easier for the user to navigate through the models. So Solibri Checkpoint 3D viewer can be faster in performance than other desktop solutions. And that's because what we see in the 3D viewer is a converted version of the original model, basically. So if it was, let's say, 2 GB file model, it's actually way less in size in Solibri Checkpoint. And the reason we're doing that is that we're making it easier for the user to navigate, because most of the time that is spent on model checking is gone on only on navigating in the model. So sometimes you have a buggy interface and so on, especially with desktop solutions. But over here, it's working in the cloud, so it will be easier to navigate through the model. After that, we can look into the information, just like the element properties from here, and view all the necessary information that I need for my model checking process in the element properties. There are some 3D actions that we can use also at the top, including sections, section plane, showing grid lines, converting it to a floor plan, showing spaces, and so on. But the next step in the workflow is the data viewer. The data viewer is a more structured way to show the elements that I have in the 3D viewer, but in a customizable data set according to their own element properties. To explain it to you, let me go to the data viewer. So here you can see that I'm reading now all the elements in the model. So 22,990 elements in total, coming from all the 6 models that I'm using in this project. And then I can see them based on their model name, level, category, name, and model version. These properties, I can include any property that I need from the model. So all what I have to do is just go to the element properties. And let's say I'm interested in the type property. Then what I can do, I can just simply drag and drop. And then it will be included as a new column in the data viewer. The information that we have here allows us to group the elements together. So I can group them by category by dragging and drop the category property here. And then I can start looking through these different categories. So if I want to see only doors, I can isolate them. There you go. We can also apply colors if I want to change them like this. And also, we can export the information. The data viewer can help us in extracting the information, do an information takeoff, a BOQ from the data viewer. So if I have some numeric elements, or let's say numeric properties that I want to include in my data viewer, I can do that. And then I can aggregate all these values and then export either to Excel or CSV. These data views can be fully customized from here. And also we can save it and add it to the data views that we have in this project. Okay, the next step would be filters. So before actually checking the model and running the rules, we need to create filters. Filters is a way to classify and also select the elements that I have in the project. So I can go here, and then let's say I'm interested in selecting all these walls or this specific type of walls. I can go here and go to the type, select it, 3D preview, as simple as that. And then I'm selecting all these elements. I can save them, put them in my own personal library, and then start using them into the rules. So this is where we create filters. Okay, and the main workflow or the main process that we have in Solibri Checkpoint is the rules. So for model checking, we follow rule-based checking, basically. So we're creating these rules. And we're supporting 3 basic rule templates, are the clash check, property check, and free space check. So these are the 3 rule types that allow us to make sure our model is, let's say, first clash-free, and also the information is reliable, and we do some geometric checks over here. Each one of these rules has some requirements which we need to initially set up. So if I choose a clash check, I need to add a base and colliding target. These are filters that we initially created from the filters section. As for the property check, also we're adding a filter, but then we're asking Checkpoint to validate the property that we're looking for. And we can choose different operators, whether it exists, if it's empty, if it contains a different value or not, and so on. As for the free space check, also some requirements, some conditions that I need to add, just like filters in the target required and disallowed, and also the dimensions that I'm creating. Okay, so I'll start by creating a simple rule to make sure that, let's say, our pipes are on a correct type, let's say. This is a very basic check, and I'm sure that like a lot of people have gone through this, especially for MEP. So again, I came from an MEP background, and it was such a hassle to look for all the elements and make sure that they are on the correct type. So I'm going to use the data viewer for this. So what we're going to do is first, okay, let's group them by category, and then look for the pipes. There you go. Choose a specific pipe, and then let's go to the system name. Okay, so we're going to group everything by the system name. So the use case that I'm thinking about right now is making sure that the building sanitary pipes are all, on this specific type, PVC, DWV. To do this, we're going to first select the building sanitary pipes. So we're going to drag and drop this over here. Okay, so system name. Let's group everything by the system name. And then here we have the building sanitary. Click on the drop down. We have different elements. So I'm going to do another grouping by category. Okay, and there you go. Here we have pipes. Okay, so we're going to isolate them to make sure that we're selecting the correct ones. There you go. I'm going to create a filter out of these. Again, the reason we're creating the filter is that it helps us in setting up the rule. So I'm going to make sure first I'm selecting the right system, okay, the right pipes. And I'm doing this from here. So let's do a 3D preview again. There you go. Save. And then we're going to go to the rules, open a new rule, go to the property check, and just simply drop the filter that we've just created. The pipes, this is the one. Again, let's do a 3D preview, make sure that we're selecting it. There you go. And the property that we're looking for, so I'm going to select any of these pipes and drop the type into the property. If I want to read this rule, let's give it a name. So building sanitary pipes type. If I want to read this property, I'm looking or I'm filtering out the building sanitary pipes from here. I'm making sure that I'm selecting them all. And then we're making sure that the type is this PVC DWV. But if you have more than one value, you can also choose the any of or any different operator. You can add more properties if you want to check them all at once. Save. We can reset the view and then run the rule. So there you go. Now we have these results. 702 pipes were checked. And I can see there are some red elements over here, also like a small one over here. So what we can do, I'll just group first the results. There you go. If I double click on any of them, it will be highlighted. But also to make the process easier for me, I can group them all at once. And then I can take a look at all the failed elements. Isolate. And there you go. These are the pipes with a different type. If I want to see which type I'm having, as you can see, they are copper. So that's why they're wrong. If I want to include copper in my rule, of course, I will choose a different operator and then add the PVC and also the copper to make sure that everything is consistent. Let's see if we have a different type, for instance. So failed. Yes, it's only copper. Now, there are different ways to communicate this issue. I can export it, so the classic way, into an Excel sheet or a CSV file, but also I can create an issue and go with the open workflow, a BCF, and then integrating it with other platforms. But let me show you also the other checks that we can do with Solibri Checkpoint. I've already created some examples. For the property check, I've already done one. Let's do another one from here. So all walls with the assembly code begins with B2010. So if we go to this wall, element properties, and look for the assembly code, so it is B2010. We want to make sure that all the walls have the same, or at least it begins with B2010 as part of the assembly code. So we can run it. Then we will have these results, which can be shown also in the data viewer. I can do some groupings. Then we can look into the results. So this is for the walls assembly code, and I'm using for it a property check. Another use case, all levels are named according to project requirements. So here I'm selecting all the levels in the model, also through a filter. So there you go, I'm selecting them from the architectural model. And I'm also looking for the name. So let me go to the filters here and select the levels. I want to run this filter so I can show you the results. Now, the thing is over here is that the results won't be shown into the 3D viewer. And that's because levels are not actual elements. So they don't have a geometry, let's say, with a material that we can show in the 3D viewer. But you can still see the selected elements in the data viewer. So these are all the levels that I have. And I want to make sure that the name is separated with, this special character. So we can go to the rule again and select it from here. So attributes, name, equals, and I'm using a wildcard for this. So 2 strings that are separated with this special character. We can run this rule. Simple as that. And then we can get the results. And then it will show you which ones have failed, which ones have passed. You can see that the name is correct for the elements that have passed. It is separated with this special character. But for the ones that have failed, it's only 1 string. Okay, so these are for the data checks, making sure that the data quality is reliable for other users or other stakeholders in the projects to work with this BIM model. But also, we can run the clash check. For the clash check, here I have an example. So I'm going to clash the structural model with the other MEP models. Also, we're creating filters here. So base target, colliding target, and also a tolerance, 5 millimeter. We can run this rule. Now, what is the difference between running a clash check on Solibri Checkpoint and other platforms? Well, the difference is in reporting. Of course, we have the cloud functionalities, and also it's much faster, but the grouping functionality, especially for the clash detection, stands out. So what I can do over here, we end up having, 1,000 or like 2,000, 4,000 clashes. How do we group them? How do we report them all at once? So I can do this from here. So I'll group them by result. But also, if I'm working with two different categories or two different models with different categories, I can then add some properties that can help me in grouping these elements. So for the base elements, which is basically the structural model, I'm going to add the category from the attributes property set. And also, we're going to add it for the colliding fields, for the colliding elements, which are the MEP, basically. So there's going to be also category, attributes, and then save. Now, this way, I can also group them like this. And then it allows me to understand the clashes that I'm having in the model, which categories are actually intersecting with each other. So here, we have the failed elements. You can see that 732 clashes in total, 579 clashes for floors, and the rest with other structural categories. But let's say I'm interested in the structural framing ones. Then I can click on the drop-down and see also the other categories from the MEP models that are clashing with them. This way, I don't need to go through every single rule result that I have or clash result that I'm having, but also I can choose a whole group and just look at it or report it all at once. So let's say structural framings and ducts. This is like a very decent one. So I can just isolate it, and there you go. You can see these interesting clashes. So I can look at them all at once from different angles. I can also choose them individually. I can just select like this, and then it will be highlighted. Also, if I'm having the same element clashing in different locations, I can also group them by Revit ID. This way, I'm ensuring that the groups are well prepared for reporting, and from here I can export to Excel and CSV. And this is for the clash detection. So the next time you need to run a rule, of course, you can add this into a project library. Then whenever you open a checkpoint project or this specific project, you can instantly run the whole folder, or let's say all the rules that you have, and then get the results. And the last type of checks that is really interesting for me is the free space check. This one is part of the geometric checks that we can do on Solibri checkpoint. So let's say I want to make sure that all the heat recovery units in the model have no elements within 1 meter square below them. Okay. The way we're setting up this rule, we're selecting all the equipment in the model. So the heat recovery units are defined here as only mechanical equipment. So it is the only mechanical equipment that we have in the Snowdon towers. And I'm also choosing some disallowed elements. So if there are any, let's say, any of these elements within the boundaries that I'm specifying in checkpoint, it will be retrieved as an issue. And also the dimensions, I'm creating them from here. Then we can run this rule. By I'm ensuring that there are no elements interfering below the heat recovery units. As you can see, for this element, there's a free space below it. This one, no. But also, we have these interesting ones. So for accessibility, you can also define what you want to include in the check, the type of elements that you want to exclude or you want to include. You can also do this from here. Another free space check is for, and this one is for architectures, of course, no elements within 1 meter behind or in front of the doors. We can run it. Okay, there you go. And I can double click on any of these clashes, and then you can see. Now, in some cases, you might see these, which can be considered as false positives, because this is how it's done in Revit, basically. So you can exclude that. In the rule itself, you can define the elements that you want to include or you want to exclude from the free space check, as well as the geometry. Not only that, but also if you have different sizes for the elements, let's say over here, you can see that these two doors have different sizes. Then you don't need to include the actual size for the element. There's an option to make it relative to the bounding box of the element over here. When you tick it, then it doesn't matter what is the geometry that you're using or the element dimensions, basically. It will create the box on Solibri checkpoint in a way that match the bounding box of the element. Okay, so the last step in the workflow, how do we communicate all these issues? So if I go back to the first rule that I used, the sanitary pipes, there you go. We have some issues over here. How do I communicate this? So we can do it the classic way, Excel, CSV, but also we can do it in a more advanced way by taking a screenshot for the issue, creating some kind of a presentation. If you're a Solibri Office user, you will understand what is the presentation. A presentation is where you put all the information to fix the issue, of course, the assigned person to it, along with some screenshots to fully understand how to access this issue. So from here, I'm going to choose some elements. Let's say this one. So I'm going to go here. Then we're going to create an issue. Right. So I'm going to create an issue for the whole group. There you go. We've selected all the elements. Title, I can put it, let's say test. Description, keep it blank. But then priority. So this is along with this is according to the BCF standard, basically. So we're adding the information to fix it. So I'm not going to say it's a clash, it's an issue. Topic status, active, stage, design, and then I'm going to assign it to myself. But now I'm working on the internal issue management of Solibri Checkpoint. So once I save this issue, all project participants on Solibri Checkpoint will be able to see this issue. This means that we can all communicate together through these issues, and also we can export it to BCF, so we can go back to the authoring tools and import it. Now we can take this one step further by having the integrated workflow, where we connect to an external issue provider. So because I'm working on an ACC project, I actually can sync it to ACC, I can sync it to Newforma, to BIM Collab, BIM 360, Trimble Connect, and so on. So let's first sync it to Newforma Connect. This option allows me to view the issues in Newforma, but also for Newforma users, there's a plugin that can be used in Revit directly, which means that if you create an issue in Solibri Checkpoint, it will be synced directly to your Revit. For example, if I link my account from here and then choose the same project that I'm working on in Revit and also in Newforma. So currently I don't have any issues. And here I have Revit open. So you can see I'm now using the Newforma plugin and I'm connected to Checkpoint and I'm loading the same model, Snowdon Towers Revit example project. If I go back here to Checkpoint and add a new issue, we will take a screenshot, give it a title, test in Newforma, Newforma connection, topic status, open. But as you can see, now it's slightly different than the internal issue management for Solibri Checkpoint. And that's because we're reading now directly from Newforma Connect. And then I will assign it to myself. You can see that I'm now in a dropdown because I'm the only person who's working on this project in Newforma. And I will put a description. Please change the type of the model, the type of the pipe. Then we will add a priority. We'll put critical, due date, and then the topic type, issue. As soon as I hit the save button, you will see that the issue is now on Solibri Checkpoint. But if I go to my Newforma Connect on their website, you will see the issue, and then you can view it in the model in the 3D viewer of Newforma. But also if I go back to my Revit account and then just refresh, you will see that there is a new critical issue that was added from Solibri Checkpoint. And it will have the BCF location, which means that we can actually access the issue in the Revit model. I can see the screenshot, but also I can push an update. So I can view the issue from here, and then we can put a comment. It was fixed. And then for the type or for the status, I can put it in progress and then publish. Now, whenever I publish the issue, I can go back to my checkpoint account. You can see it is open, but if I refresh, now it's in progress. It's a real-time connection, so you can update the issues directly from Newforma, whether on Revit or on their website, and you will see it also on Checkpoint. And not only that, but also I can connect, let's say, to ACC. This is an ACC project, so I can link my account and then just establish the connection one more time. Connect. I also have ACC open over here. I'll go back to my checkpoint and then create a new issue. We will take a screenshot. We will put more information. As you can see, now it's also different than Newforma and also checkpoint. That's because we're reading now directly from ACC. For the status, open, title, test, ACC connection, assigned to, and then you can see the list of people who are working with me on this project. I will assign it to myself and then add the rest of this information. We will put, we'll just put anything and then save. As soon as we save it, it will be added here on Checkpoint. All project members can access it, but of course they need to have access also on ACC in order to access this specific project. So we don't change the access level of the user if we are working on an external project that is coming, let's say, from Procore, Trimble Connect, or even ACC. The access roles are in line with these platforms. So if you have access on ACC, you will have access on this project on Checkpoint. If not, then you can, even if you have a license on Checkpoint, you won't be able to access ACC basically if you don't initially have access on the platform. So now I can go back to my ACC account, fresh. Okay, and then you will see a new issue, test ACC connection. There you go. This is on my ACC account. We will view all the information, the due date, who is assigned to this one. We can add comments. And also, I can view the screenshot that is coming directly from Solibri Checkpoint, just like I did on Newforma Connect. So here we have the screenshot. And soon enough, we'll be able to connect with the push pins on ACC, which means that if you're using the model coordination module on ACC, you'll be able to view and locate this exact issue, just like you did on on Checkpoint and also in Revit. You can do it also in ACC. Okay. Now, for the resources that I've created on Checkpoint, so let's say I'm working on, on a quality check document, and I've created all the rules that I need, along with filters, data views, and so on. But I want every single project member to work on the same rules that I'm using, or the same checks, the same filters. And I want to avoid all the rework, so I don't want them to create them over and over again. So what we can do with this is I can qualify the rules that I'm working with into a project library. And then they can access it from here, from the library option. You will see all the rules, filters, data views that were created and added to this project library. Now, all users can just simply run these rules depending on their access role, of course. They can have their own personal library that they can work with, and they can have a project library, which they can share with each other, and then they can use on the same project. Soon enough, we will introduce something called the company level library. This way, we can create some kind of a template which will allow us to share the project library with other projects, basically, the rules, so you can carry it with you on other projects as well. I will walk you through some of the roadmap items that we have soon, as soon as we finish the demo. Let me go back to the landing page over here. Solibri Checkpoint comes with tutorials explaining the 5 steps that I went through, the 5 main processes for setting up the project, working with filters, creating your data views, setting up the rules, and of course, reporting and creating a BCF file or syncing it with other issue providers. So this is Solibri Checkpoint. Again, we're introducing a simplified approach for model checking. The model checking process can be sometimes very complex depending on the size of the project. So looking for automated solutions can at least reduce some of the rework that is done, and also some of the time that is consumed in these construction projects. Okay, so let me share the presentation one more time. There you go. Okay. So on our roadmap, we will have an improved issue reporting. We're introducing something called communication issues. So we can actually now assign people to work on a communication issue in real time. So me as a person or as a user working on this specific project, I can see who's working with me in real time in this project, and I can see which issue was assigned to them in the 3D viewer. So instead of going to the issues, just like I did, and then going to the viewpoint and so on, we can now have these little checkpoints in the project, which allow us to see which type of issues are we facing over here and who is the assigned person to it. It's going to be a collaborative feature. So I can add it and then I can share it with all the project members. And also we can have a lot of communication issues that we can exchange and then we can look at in Solibri Checkpoint. Not only that, but also the company level library, which I mentioned previously. So we will have an interface to manage all the project libraries, all the resources that you have, and also sync them with their latest version. So if a project member makes an update on this rule or this filter, then all the other project members will be notified, and then they can use the last updates. So that was it. I think I came to the last part of this session. I think now we can have more time for Q&A.
Thanks, Rod. Thanks for this amazing session. There's one question from Andre so he asks, on a standard workflow, fully trained, what is the current time frame to set up a project with all filters/properties? What happens when someone using this doesn't have standards and uploads without properties? How long does it take to clean up properties?
To create the properties is actually the initial step. So if we have our categories or the filtering criteria first at hand, and this exists on all BIM projects. So you will have it defined in the BIM execution plan that there's a QA QC process for the workflow. Looking at this QA QC document, you can know which filters you need to create. Once you have them at hand, you can go to Checkpoint, and then you can start creating filters. Creating filters can be a very simple method. You can do it manually, of course, by just typing the filter or the value that you're looking for, or the elements that you're looking for. But also you can do it directly from the data viewer, just like I did with the sanitary pipes. And also you can do it from the element properties. Also, there are some features when it comes to the filtering. For instance, if you use the any-off operator, you can add a list, a CSV list. So you can actually go to Excel, have a CSV format table, copy it, and then drop it into the any-off operator in Solibri Checkpoint in the filter editor specifically. And then it will select all the values that exist in this Excel sheet, basically. This way, we are making it easier for the user to create the filter and also not to spend a lot of time in setting up the filter.
Perfect. I hope, Andrew, that answers your question. So if there's any other questions, you can drop in the Q&A box. Yeah, we can read it out and answer it immediately. Or the second option is you can always get Ward on his LinkedIn profile, be sharing his email address. If you want to enroll for Solibri, by all means, you can get in touch with them. He can take it ahead from there. Anyone, we wait for like a few minutes, and here you go. So you can scan the QR, take his email address, get him on LinkedIn.
There's also one note that I want to mention also to the participants over here. So currently we're running a promotion campaign till the end of the year. There's a 50% discount on Solibri Checkpoint for our US customers. So feel free to scan the code that I'm sharing with you right now, and then you will be contacted by our sales team. And you can also contact us directly at sales-us@solibri.com. And then we can get in touch and we can jump into a demo and walk through your requirements on model checking.
There's one more question for you, Ward. Does Solibri provide a CSV template?
We don't actually provide a CSV template for Solibri Checkpoint. However, any CSV file can work, basically. All what you have to do is just, you don't need to actually import the whole file into Checkpoint. All what you have to do is just copy it as a table from Excel as a CSV format, or even you can have it on a note and so on, and then drop it into the filter editor, basically. And Checkpoint will understand it's a CSV table because of the CSV format, basically.
Thank you. The new questions, get in touch with Ward directly. You can get in touch with me as well for any of the architecture requirement. We'll be doing this for a decade. Thank you everyone for coming in. We will end this webinar right now in a minute. Thank you, Ward, for all your inputs. It was wonderful, getting all the information from you, for the entire, 1 hour session. It was beautiful. A new learning for me as well, catering to the AEC industry for so long. Thank you so much. God bless you guys.
Thank you very much, Manish. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Have a nice evening.
Thank
Bye.
you, people. Bye.